Welcome everyone back to Monday night. I can't believe how quickly the weeks are flying by. And we're heading towards the middle of June, which is interesting. Feels like the year's gone quite slowly, and then suddenly we're, heading into winter and um, things are changing quickly, and school holidays will be on us again soon. So I hope you've had a great week. There's a lot to talk about tonight, so I will get straight on to what we're all here for. I know you're busy. So firstly, great work on the 50 Foods Challenge. I'm getting some great feedback, and I can see you're all keenly filling out your forms, and just kind of, I guess, really what we wanted was for you to think about how many different foods you might eat either in a day or a week. And then sitting with that to see how diverse you can make your diet, and adding different foods in that you may not have tried before. So I think it's fantastic, and I think you all should be commended, given that we are still probably out of routine, and just all re-emerging from that time where either everybody was at home or you're still working at home. So any positive steps you're taking are monumental at this point, I believe. So give yourself a pat on the back. So the first thing I wanted to do was maybe increase your challenge by adding in a couple of foods of my own that you might experiment with during the week and just give us feedback on. So I'll introduce those. They're no big deal, and you'll find them at the supermarket, but there's just different reasons behind certain foods that we might select, but also the type of each variety. So if you're going to choose potatoes, if you're in the supermarket and you're looking to buy potatoes for the family, what is it that you base your decision on? I mean, maybe there's 5 or 6 different types to choose from, different species of the potato. But what makes your decision on which one's for you? I look at colour. I always look at colour, and I look for purple. So what do you think I'm going to say about potatoes? So the Desiree potato, I think you would have seen it. It's got a pink skin on it. They're the ones I always choose, and I never peel them. So the other thing I don't really often do is peel a vegetable. I think it's a waste of good nutrition and fibre. So that's my first food that you might look at introducing. Some recipes will specify what type of potato they'd like you to use, depending on what it's going to be for. So different potatoes will have a slightly different texture once they're cooked, and they're either good for roasting, or some are really nice and creamy and good for mashing. Even when I do mashed potato, I'll still use the purple, and I still leave the skin on it. So generally you can't see it in there once it's all mashed up anyway. So that's my first food, and it's purple. I think I've got a bit of a theme going on here, because the second one is the purple, the sweet potato, which is actually a darker purple on the outside, and it's that beautiful creamy kind of yammy texture on the inside. And I think, habit often will tell us to pick up just the standard go-to that we're all comfortable with and that we know. And I'm not knocking the sweet potato, the orange one, because it's high in vitamin, all the beta carotenes and the vitamin A, which a lot of our community could really do with. So in this case, I would say, mix up your sweet potato and live on the edge a little bit. But if you I roast those purple and white sweet potato actually fully. I don't cut them, I just put them in the oven. I might spray them with a little bit of olive oil and just roast them, and the outer shell becomes quite like leathery, and it encases that inner flesh really nicely. And once they're cooled, they're actually really good for lunches, and you can just split the top of the potato open and fill it up with other maybe veggies or some savoury mince or something like that. But that's just another variety, and it also has the purple colour, which we all love, for the anthocyanins, which are just like a plant nutrient that cause that beautiful purple colour in the vegetables and fruit. And they're really good for they've been proven to help to prevent cancers, antioxidant qualities, and they're really good for the blood vessels. So all of your arteries and your veins and anything that's to do with the heart and the circulation as well. So that's the reason behind the purple colouring. I think I put it in the group last week when we were talking about the Brussels sprouts, purple Brussels sprouts. So purple carrot is another one. I don't see those very often in our where I shop in Brisbane. I don't know if anyone else sees them. So the next food, which is purple, I'm going to introduce 3 this week and just see if you can find them firstly, and then secondly, see what you can do with them. The third one is a dragon fruit, and they've got that beautiful pink, almost look like a sea urchin, but they're pink. And you cut it open, and inside it has the white flesh and the beautiful tiny little seeds. And at the moment, I think they must be in season because they're really tasty and they're quite sweet. Whereas I think when they're not, they can be look spectacular, but be a bit disappointing if they're not in their right season. So there's your challenge this week for the 50 Foods Challenge, is keep going with your variety of foods. With that, you'll be boosting your microbiome, and you'll be increasing fiber. You'll be taking in all those beautiful different colours, and that's where the those hidden benefits are in your foods as well. So give those a go. Dragon fruit, the purple potatoes, and also the sweet potato with the pinker skin on it and the white flesh on the inside, and tell us what you think. And you can mash them if you want, or roast them. So that's the first thing. The second thing, we did the poll during the week to see kind of where everybody's at and what they'd like to see more of in the group, and perhaps in our newsletters and maybe in the podcast. And really, exercise is something that's sticking out as an area where you would like to know a little bit more about what you could be doing. So I'll work on that in the next week or 2, and we'll come up with some ideas, and maybe, a challenge or an idea or somehow that will just keep you interested, or just things that you can do that you find enjoyable. I think with exercise, there's a lot of focus on, getting out and exercising, and it is fantastic. But the research shows that incidental movement is actually where the weight loss comes from as well. So it's not just, sitting down the rest of the day and going out for a walk for an hour. It's great, and it is not going to hurt you at all, don't get me wrong, but anything you can do throughout the day to increase your incidental movement and to boost your metabolic rate while you're sitting is going to be a bonus that far outweighs sitting in the gym for an hour on the bike. So I'll talk a bit more about that, and that might be something that we kind of start with, of ways to increase incidental movement, as well as different things that might excite you that you choose to do in your spare time. So different age groups need different stimulus as well. And for women in particular, as we get a little bit closer to like menopause or sort of that late 40s, early 50s, things really change as far as what we need for exercise. So there's different ways of achieving good fat loss without putting the body under too much stress. And as we do reach that age, I will say that the intensity of your exercise does matter. If you're doing that really high intensity, exhausting type of exercise, it can actually slow down your results rather than speed them up. So I'll go into that as well. So that was the poll. The most popular topic that you wanted to hear more about was exercise, and the second one was sleep. And I know as a practitioner, it's kind of where I start with. If a patient comes in for me for weight loss or stress management or hormonal balance or more vitality or more focus and concentration, or the whole range of different things, inflammation, overweight, that sort of stuff, I'll definitely look at their sleep first, and we work on good sleep hygiene and solid sleep that's actually healing and restoring, so that you can do the exercise and it's not actually adding an extra stress to the body in an already stressed state. So those two will go very closely together. Good sleep. I wonder if you can let me know. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can see 6 lovely viewers. Can you all post in the little comments section how many hours sleep you think you might get on a regular basis? Yeah, Deb, it is totally, sleep hygiene is critical, and I've got a great article on that which I'll post. But if you can just let me know roughly how long you sleep every night and whether it's solid sleep and whether you wake up feeling re-energized from your sleep. It's something just to have a think about, even if you don't want to post it in the comments, but just do consider how you feel when you wake up and what kind of sleep quality you are getting and how long. So they're my 2 next missions for you, is helping you to get clear on the sleep as well. Well done to everybody who's posted in the group this week. I can really see we're starting to enter. See 6, 8, 6 to 7, 8 to 10 broken sleep. 8-ish, feel good. Good. 5 to 7 hours and not solid. Erin. So there's a range there. The average should be at least 8 hours of good sleep. And there's different things you can do to prepare for sleep, and different nutritional deficiencies will interrupt your sleep as well. So someone who might be dog tired during the day and just struggling to get through, and then at night when it comes time to sleep, they'll fall asleep but wake up. Often I'll have a look at their iron status and their iron stores. Fabrizio, you need to sleep a little bit more too. You work too hard. And so, yes, sleep is a key to hormonal balance, managing hunger, cravings for carbohydrates, keeping your mood feeling positive, which also leads to carbohydrate craving when you're not sleeping enough. Inflammation is a big problem if you're not sleeping regularly. So you can see how disruptive that will be. And then when you're adding in the need to exercise and work and do everything else we do, it's just more stress. So that's how you can really start to alleviate your stress and the drag on your body is through getting a good night's sleep. So we'll talk about that as well. What else did I have to do? 2 questions in the group this week. So one of them was from Penny Vickers, who, oh my God, is growing some beautiful vegetables up there, wherever you are. I'm not actually sure where you're located, but over the break, over the ISO period, she put her head down and excavated gardens and grew beautiful vegetables, and it's just amazing. So Penny wants to know, when is the best time to take our multi? Is it with a meal? Do we wash it down with a glass of water or just sip? My surgeon says not to have water at mealtime. You're exactly right. So we suggest, and it depends on what else you're taking, I suggest you don't drink coffee or tea with your multi, or within about 2 hours of your multi, because it can tend to block the iron in your multivitamin. So some people will take it with coffee in the morning before breakfast, and it'll either make them feel fantastic or terrible. Empty stomach often will be something that brings on the nausea because of the iron. So when you start eating food and chewing and salivating and processing, or your digestion is kicked into gear, your body knows chemically and psychologically that it's time to absorb nutrition as well. So if you're taking your multi at the end of a meal, it's A, your body's ready for it, and B, there's some stomach acid that's being produced through the digestive process that will help to absorb the iron and the calcium, which are problematic after surgery. So you can take it at the end of your meal. You could take it with a snack if it's not upsetting your stomach without having a full meal. But yeah, don't wash it down with a glass of water at mealtime, because if you're having liquid too close to a meal, you can actually just push your food through your sleeve too quickly. So it leaves your tummy empty and you'll be hungry again sooner. So the idea of that is protein first, which also is digested in the actual pouch, whereas carbohydrates will go straight through. But in your digestive system, you have different sphincters that detect whether you've got water in your stomach or liquid or food. And when the water comes in, it opens up the sphincter that will let that food down into the small intestine too quickly, which can also help increase your chance of dumping. So there's a whole lot of reasons for that. Some people can do it, others just don't feel comfortable. So, but it is definitely not advised for what we call satiety, or keeping you feeling full for a long time. So take them with a meal, take them away from caffeine, and take them away from medication. So that's just precautionary, really. There's some some different medications that may conflict, but it's always just good to give everything the best chance of absorption. So putting them in one at a time is often a good idea. So morning is good, and it'll the B group will get you started and increase your energy levels. So one in the morning, and then you can either do the second one in the afternoon, either with lunch or afternoon snack. And if you find you're not really totally woken up by the B group in the multivitamin, you can take it at night time. So with your main meal in the evening. And that's totally up to you. The only reason we don't always say take it at night is that it can have a stimulatory effect when you're taking that much B12. So, which is a good thing, because then you're all energetic, but maybe you don't want that at night. So thanks, Penny. I hope that answers your question. And this is one, I can't remember who posted it, but I copied it in from somewhere during the week just to remind me to answer it. And it's a question about, in an effort to cut back on muesli bars and packaged grab-and-go snacks, I'd like to prepare and bake pre-prepared snacks at home. Should I be worried about sugar and carbs? Example for me, insulin resistance has been mentioned. How much sugar and carbs is acceptable? Any suggestions? Currently, I'm eating the Carmen's protein bars, peanut bounce balls, and I know they're not great. So that's a good question, and it is something to consider if it's something you're going to be snacking on regularly. Is yes, to have a look at the carbohydrate content, or mainly just the kind of refined added sugar, or making sure you're not snacking on, dried fruit, large quantities of dried fruit, which is quite concentrated energy as well. Ideally, every snack should have some protein in it. And what that does is, again, slows down that time it will take for you to feel hungry again. But it also helps with that insulin resistance, and it keeps your blood sugars even throughout the day, which is fantastic. So ideally, protein going in at every opportunity, because you've got such a target to meet every day. So your snacks do need to be, you do need to consider that they need to have some protein in them. So nuts and seeds are a great option, and those little protein balls that you can make. On our website, on the home page, you'll find about halfway down there's a bank of different recipe books you can download, and one of them is healthy snacks, and all of those are geared towards weight loss surgery patients. So they've got enough protein in them, they've got some really good other nutrients, and they taste a bit, they're not such a boring old treat. The other thing to think about is some good fats in your snacks. Don't be scared of good fats. So things like the protein balls with the hemp seeds and some nuts and that sort of stuff in them will also keep you full, because they've got a little bit of fat and some protein. They're really high in nutrition too. They've got, different nuts have got a range of different nutrients, and the seeds have zinc and magnesium, and they're quite high in minerals. So they're something that should certainly be on your radar for snacking. I often go to Coles and have a look at the nut mixes that used to be self-serve, but now they're all pre-packed. They're like a scoop and weigh. They've got some good options there for snacking on. But again, if you want to make your own, grab the recipe book off our website and you'll find they're fantastic. Thank you. So that's the 2 questions for this week. The last thing we have is our 2 winners for this week, and we're just introducing this brilliant new, speaking of snacks, It's two little biscuits called Skinny Bic, and they're made from lupins and a few other ingredients, and they're quite tasty. They're not a crunchy, dry biscuit. They're more of a chewy kind of snack for in between meals. So there's two little biscuits in a pack. Again, I don't have one here to show you. And they are made with lupins, which are proven to keep your blood sugars at an even keel. They've got lots of fiber in them. There's a little bit of protein, and they're made by a dietitian in Melbourne, and we're selling them on the website soon. So the lucky winners this week are Jasmine Louise for posting her 50 foods in 5 minutes. No, she'd completed the 50 foods quite swiftly, so she should be really happy with that. So Jasmine, if you can just send us an email, support@bnmulti.com. I'll post it in the notes here, and just let us know that you're one of the winners of the Skinny Bic competition. And also Penny Vickers also won a Skinny Bic pack. Just being so active in the group and so committed to your own health and your garden and your, exploring this whole food realm with such passion and commitment. I think you should be really happy with that. So well done. Keep up the good work. And looks like you all could, knock off now and go to sleep if you're only having 6 hours a night. We'll talk about that. I'll also post I've got a really good sleep hygiene handout that'll just help you with establishing some routine as you're sleeping. Magnesium, if you can't sleep, is really good. And if you're on a calcium supplement, if you're taking the capsules and you're on the calcium, you can do that at night just before bed, and it actually helps you with sleep. So it helps to relax your cardiovascular system. So it's a good one as well. Calcium and magnesium are supportive nutrients for relaxation and calming the nervous system because they work on all the neurotransmitters. And there you go. Does anyone have any questions? God, we've got some people here tonight. It's fantastic. Good evening, good sleep. No, everybody just needs to go to sleep. Especially for Fabrizio, 4.5 hours a night. I wonder who he works for. Excellent. So I'll leave you with that. If you've got any more questions, please post them under this post, or if there are questions you want me to answer next week, pop them in the announcement post where it's got question time with Jacqui. So thanks again, and keep up the good work with your 50 Foods Challenge. There'll be more prizes next week for those who are still posting in feedback on what's happening. Also, come back to me with what you're doing with your dragon fruit, your purple veggies, your sweet potato, and your Desiree potatoes with the skin on them. So keep up the good work. See you next week. I'm going to end the live tonight so no one sees my dogs. Have a good week.